Hello, friends, and welcome to Brotherly Love Gaming, the show where two brothers talk through the past, present, and future of our lives in gaming. And actually, today is a bit different because we are not two brothers, but three. My name is Alex, joined as usual by my brother Spence.
What's up, guys?
And now, for the first time, our brother Zack.
Hi.
Zack, welcome to the show. This is something that we've wanted to do for a little while now. We've talked about doing a Pokemon episode.
Months.
Zack for months. Almost did it once. I forget why we didn't do it. Something happened where we couldn't do it.
Conflict, yeah.
And we made it happen this week. So as I said, today we're going to be talking about Pokemon, focusing hopefully on our first interactions with the series. I'm sure Pokemon doesn't really need to be introduced, but just in case, I'll set it up a little bit. Pokemon is a game originally developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo. The original games were Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green, released in Japan in 1996. Those titles might sound a little bit different to what people know of the series, but we'll get to that. There's a game about catching monsters, playful little monsters, some of them scary. And it ended up being a huge success. And then it eventually made its way to the US as Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. Now, when it came to the US, it was in 1998 at that point. Super popular. They, at that point, had an anime and a trading card game based around the video games. So those really helped to boost its popularity coming over here. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this. I feel like I knew this in the back of my head, but hadn't really thought about it at all. In the US, the anime came to us first by 20 days. It came out on September 8th, 1998, and then the games arrived September 28th, 1998. So we had 20 days of Pokemon the anime before the games finally got around.
Go America!
Yeah.
I
think it's funny.
That's wild.
When I was looking at it, they got through 15 episodes at that point, because remember, this was when the anime was like daily. So they had every single day. And the SS Anna episode aired the same day that the Pokemon games came out.
Wow.
The fun fact, Ash was already in Vermilion City. The previous episode, he had defeated Lieutenant Surge. And then everybody got to play the games. So that's basically the humble beginnings of the franchise, which is now, I don't know if you guys know this, it's the highest grossing media franchise ever in the history of anything.
Doesn't surprise me.
With an estimated $90 billion in total revenue, which is just like an insane, billion with a B, insane amount of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So, we can just dive right in. So, Zach, I don't know if maybe you have a memory of this or not. So, like I said, the show came out first. I kind of feel like everybody watched the show immediately.
Mm.
And then the games, I would be willing to bet we probably got for Christmas, So even though they had been out since September, I would be willing to bet we probably didn't get them until that December,
Right.
So you're halfway through the first season almost at that point by the time.
Yeah.
I had Pokemon Blue, which I have right here. It's my original Pokemon Blue. The save battery is dead, unfortunately. Zach, which one did you have?
I had Red. I do not have the game cartridge, which is why I wore this red shirt and on it.
Oh, okay. Do you know where does Callan have his red cartridge?
Actually have it.
I thought I did, but I was looking through it and it wasn't with my games.
I have no idea. Dude.
I don't know if I stuck it somewhere.
It might be in Callan's thing. Do the viewers know about Callan, the fourth EV brother?
No, we never mentioned Callan, I don't think. Yeah, he's 4 years old now.
Yeah.
So he's little. He will probably not be making any appearances anytime soon.
Future episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I was thinking about it because Mom's always asking me, like, where are the games that Callan could play?
Yeah.
And I thought maybe I had given him Red or something because
I have no idea.
The last time I saw it, it was in like a game bag on the coffee table. That was God knows how many years ago.
That could do it.
I might have it in a box somewhere, actually. I might have to actually check. All of my stuff is still kind of jumbled, but
Zach had Red at one point. Is the important thing.
Yes. Many times.
I would have been, I guess, 5.5 at this point. Spence was
what year to come out?
Just slightly over 1 year old, right?
Yeah,
that was one.
This is 1998. So, and I remember, I guess I was in first grade, and I remember in school the big thing was like the cards. Everybody brought their Pokemon cards to school. We traded on the playground. They got banned for a little while.
Yeah.
And then when we had the games, we'd had some of our friends would like come over, and we had a. Is it still the same swing set that Mom has now, or did we get a different swing set?
Yeah, it's the exact same one.
Exact same one. Okay, exact same one. We would sit up in the top, and we would connect our link cables, and we'd play Pokemon with all our neighbors, and we'd trade and battle and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was great times. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it.
That's all you had to say about
Pokemon. I mean, yeah.
You look like you had a thought there. What were you gonna jump in with?
You're like on.
I was gonna say I should have grabbed all the cards that I have literally sitting in my nightstand because like Callan is super into them now. Like he's been like collecting a bunch, and he challenged me and Morgan to like the first to collect 100.
That's funny.
So like I have like a bunch just sitting in my nightstand.
Yeah. No, that's the cool thing is like how it's still such a thing because
relevant.
Like he's starting to collect them, and when he goes to school, like they might do the exact same thing that we did how many years ago, and like and like even you, Spence, like you went through the same stuff, like obviously playing with our thing. So
mine was more Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's for a whole nother.
Oh, we can do a Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's an interesting thing too. Quick sidebar: Alex, I'm pretty sure we played Yu-Gi-Oh, like the card game, more than we've actually played the Pokemon game.
Right.
The Digimon game.
Well, because nobody played the card game version of, like the competitive part of Pokemon.
We did a couple of times, but we played
we did, but like, and I know that we had Digimon. Like a computer game that was just like you could play, over and over. And actually, I just remember that I have the Game Boy trading card game, which is really cool because it's kind of set up like, like these games.
Yeah, how that works.
Except you battle with the cards instead of actual Pokemon. But yeah, with the Pokemon trading card game, it was more the trading aspect was the thing that was most important to people.
Yeah.
How many holographic Charizards could you get your hands on? You know what I mean?
Oof,
I remember even that Mom had. She went out and bought like one of those guidebooks to how much your cards could be worth. So that if we got like a card that could potentially be worth something, that we wouldn't just trade it away to somebody on the schoolyard for our 8th Pikachu.
Yeah,
we would be able to save it for a rainy day. I can actually see my thing from here. I'm not going to get up right now. Maybe I'll take a picture of it, but I actually have my card thing right over there. Liam just got a whole bunch of cards. I found a card case that he can put his in as well. He has a whole bunch from Brenna. So
that's wild.
The cards endure. Maybe never would have thought they would, but they do.
Did you guys have you guys seen that meme where the kid found the holographic Ancient Mew card after like 15 years under his like deck, and it looked even more ancient and
That's funny.
beat up because it was stuck there for like 15, 20 years or whatever. And so like they literally are timeless. The thing like looked like you could just wipe it off and it would be like it is new.
Those are the ones that were like, was it like that one was like a heavier card too, wasn't it? Like it wasn't actually like a normal. I think Brenna has one of those. I have to go back and look.
Speaking of heavier cards, you remember those stupid McDonald's gold cards?
Yeah, that came in the Pokeball.
Yeah, like the Beanie Babies, we all thought that they would be worth so much money, and I think they're worth like $5, $10. It's a cool collectible, but I don't think.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them because I don't know where any of mine would be. But yeah, well, that's the thing about collectibles. The thing that you set out to collect, everybody collects and nobody actually wants.
Right.
It's the stuff like
later.
Like I said, I don't have the boxes for these.
Right.
But the boxes are super rare because nobody thought to keep them. You know what I mean?
Is that why you started collecting all of your boxes underneath the TV stand in your room?
No, not with like any idea of value in mind, but just because I like the idea of having the boxes around. I mean, you laugh, but literally, like probably the most expensive item I have in my collection is Pokemon Crystal, which is worth like $100. Because nobody kept
just the case
for not just for the case, but for the game and the case. But complete. because nobody like was keeping Game Boy boxes because they're like cheap cardboard, but I kept all of mine except for, again, this first generation,
Right.
Yeah.
So I got to get those someday. But until then, my collection is incomplete. So let's talk about actually playing Pokemon the game.
Yes.
What do you guys remember about?
It's awful until you get the bike. It is so annoying until you get the bike. Kids these days now don't know about the bike, especially with Let's Go, which I'm sure we'll get to later. Like,
because they also have running shoes.
Exactly. Bikes, like the running shoes were what, Gen 2 or 3?
They were in Gen 3, and then they started but you had to play for a little bit before you got them in Gen 3, and then I think in 4 onwards they just gave them to you as soon as you started.
Yeah, right. So it's just like, I don't know. There had to be a purpose. I don't know what that would have served. I mean, I guess building the tension while you're like hunting Caterpies, and for me, burning down Meridian Forest, but like it's excruciatingly slow until you get the damn bike.
Well, I don't think they probably like gave it much thought, to be honest, because if you think about like when it came out, especially when it originally came out like in 96 in Japan, like that was just the way that, Game Boy
RPGs worked.
Yeah, where you just walked around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of also like a trope almost, like in every Final Fantasy game you get a...
It's true, yeah. All those games, it was like that, which is probably why I never really got into them, because there was no bike or running shoes. So.
Yeah, it can be a real pain.
Had like more shoes. My peak memory of it is getting grounded from playing it because we played it too much, where she took our game and the Game Boy away for, I think it was probably like a week, because you and I were just constantly like head down on the couch playing it, come home from school playing it, weekend playing it, and she was like, "This is ridiculous." Yeah, we were kids, we didn't know, but that's like it's just funny. It's funny to me.
Do you think that probably happened more than once? Because I don't remember any specific moment.
100%.
I don't think it was like, so like I don't remember it as like it was a specific moment in time. I just remember it happened. Yeah,
Gotcha.
It definitely could have happened a couple of times. I'm sure there was times, like especially for unrelated reasons, that was probably the object that was taken away from us and put on top of the fridge.
Right.
But
on top of the fridge.
I remember it specifically with you and me, with Red and Blue, with our Game Boy Pockets, and it was
which my Game Boy Pocket's up here. Everybody can see that.
You have the yellow one?
Yep. Moving through this, it's missing its screen though. It's like cover screen.
Mine was also missing the screen, and I drilled it out and re-glued it back on, but then I didn't line it up with the LED. I don't even know what happened to that. I have Kristen's purple Game Boy Color now, so.
Yeah, I have so many other Game Boys, and I have my Retron that I can use to play it on my TV as well. Yeah, but I was gonna say we also had those like Game Boy lights that you would plug into like to the link cable spot, and then it was like a little bendy light. So we probably also played them,
after bedtime.
Yeah, there's probably bedtime.
When mom came in, turned the light off, put it into the pillow.
We would have absolutely been playing it on the hour-and-a-half car ride to Dad. Back then, that would have been probably closer to 2 hour drive because the bypass wasn't done yet. The lights, yeah, that it's like that. The meme gif where it's like kids these days will know about having to like wait until you hit the street lights to see the Game Boy, because like now everything is a backlit screen, but man, those damn lights were a struggle. And the wires were such garbage that they constantly like wore out, so you kept having to buy new ones.
Yeah, I actually, because I went out and I bought like the Game Boy, like a Pokemon Game Boy Color, and then I got like a magnifier with a light on it to go on top of it.
Got it at the gaming convention.
I got the light at the game. Yeah, too many games last year. Yep. Because I had the Game Boy and I was like, this is really hard to play, so I bought a light for it at too many games.
I remember those were a big thing when the Advance was out. Was the little like magnifier screen with the light in it. I remember we had a couple of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I remember also like learning to read or feeling like I learned to read by playing Pokemon Blue. I have one distinct memory of running up to Dad, and I had, well, I guess we'll get to this, but like I played through the game. I restarted the game a couple times before I really got into it, and like stuck with the playthrough to the whole way through to the end. And I remember running up to Dad and being like, it says it's gonna like erase my whole file. Like, what does that mean if I start a new one? And he had to like explain to me like, oh, well, it looks like, if you want to start a new game, it's going to get rid of your old game, so you can't go back and play that again. I'm like, oh, okay.
Where the hell was that? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I'm finally playing Pokemon Red.
Yeah, you're too busy over in the corner. Spence, you were obviously, like we said, you were just over a year old probably when we got these.
Yeah.
So when abouts do you remember picking it up?
Ironically, I remember the first Pokemon game I actually played was Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Because of
their spin-offs episode.
yeah, because of the 64 that we had, and like that was the easiest for me to play because there were mini games in it, and it helped me learn like what the Pokemon were. Like, what I think I was watching you specifically play it, and like that's how I learned like what the Pokemon were, what they did, like kind of how it works. And then you and me would like battle in the head-to-head thing, and that's how I got the basic functions of Pokemon.
Right.
And then I think once you guys got Silver, Gold, and Crystal, I don't remember what
Silver, by the way.
You had Gold. Because I remember taking Gold from you. I remember the first one that I actually like fully played was Gold, because I eventually got to the tower where you could capture Ho-Oh, and I remember specifically like sitting at the dentist like trying to capture Ho-Oh for like while you guys were getting your teeth cleaned for like 2 hours.
Right.
And I don't think I ever caught him. I still don't think, like, if I were to put that into a Game Boy, I think it'd still be at that tower.
I know you also at some point, I don't know how this came about, but Mom somehow picked up like a bootleg combo cartridge of Gold and Silver, which I believe might actually be why there's so much confusion about who had these games. But it's a black cart that's got a picture of Lugia and Ho-Oh on it.
Yep, I remember that.
Yep,
because it had the G and the S and the little like font and like the
super bootleg. I don't know how she got it. She said she doesn't know how she got it.
How did she get that?
But I found a couple like bootleg games, Game Boy games like that when I refound that one a couple of years ago and was like, Mom, what's the story on these? And she's like, I don't know where they came from.
Did we ever actually play it? I wonder if that's that
mythical. I think Spence played that one.
Yeah, I did. I remember because it gave out like really quickly, and I was like, "Why isn't this working?" And I think that's when I picked up your Gold.
Because it was the dark cartridge. Everything makes sense now. You guys know about that one, right? The haunted Game Boy game.
Oh yeah.
It's just black. You start out with Ghost or something like that. That possesses you.
While we're on the subject of a fake bootleg Pokemon games, I don't know if other of you guys remember this. We also at one point somehow had, I don't know if this was something that we had from like MacLeod or something, but it was called Pokemon Diamond, and it was not a Pokemon game. It was a real game. It played like an actual game.
Are you sure this isn't the Mandela effect?
No, but but the cover of it said it was Pokemon Diamond. And someday I'm going to figure out what game that was, and I'm going to be like, everybody, like I played this game and thought it was Pokemon Diamond at the time. But it was another like black cartridge game with a sticker on it, which is a dead giveaway that it's a fake game.
Pokemon Diamond, it was Dialga. That's an actual version, isn't it?
No. But that wasn't until DS. So like this Pokemon game, if Michaela brought it or whatever, this would have been.
It was for Game Boy?
Long. Yeah, this would have been long before Diamond actually came out.
Yeah, if you Google Pokemon Diamond and Jade, you'll find it. It's a bootleg of a game called
what is it? Diamond and Jade?
Yeah, Pokemon Diamond and Jade. You click on the WikiFang link.
Oh, Jade.
Apparently it's like it was like a Game Boy Color sort of Pokemon knockoff game that was never released in English, but was hacked and bootlegged in the US as Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Jade.
That is a very strange looking Pokemon in front of it. It looks like a monkey eel.
Well, because it's not really in
deer.
That's why.
Yeah, that's weird.
Not a real
That's funny.
Wait, you're saying that she somehow had this? I don't remember this box art at all.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that specific. Well, it wouldn't have been the box art. It would have been the like game cartridge version. But I remember that sort of snake-looking thing, a diamond.
What?
Like I said, I have no idea how
bootleg versions of Keitai Denju Telefang. The power version was used to make Diamond, and Speed was made to Jade. Interesting.
So there you go.
That's crazy.
That's pretty funny, actually.
The last time I googled that, nothing came up. So I'm surprised. I think it's funny that it's just like the famous bootleg of Pokemon Diamond. I'm like, wait, what? This is famous? Like, yeah, I remember it. Let's talk about starters.
Charmander all the way.
Charmander all the way.
Without a doubt. Burn down Viridian Forest, man. I remember it was shortly, I think after I graduated, and I was feeling all the nostalgia again.
Mm-hmm.
Booted it up. I think originally on the Pocket, but then I was like, man, it's 2013. You do not have to live in these conditions anymore. So then I booted it into the SP, and then I played through, and I tweeted, burning down Viridian Forest, because like I was literally just like walking up, Weedle, Ember, Kakuna, burn. Like it was great. Like it was torture.
I saw you nodding along there. Are you also Team Charmander?
I always have trouble answering this question because it's always fire or water depending on the generation.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But because, screw grass for the most part, except for my man Trico.
I'm Team Squirtle all the way. As the box art must have determined for us. But I was
probably why I chose it. I had to.
Well, I actually didn't do that. I remember the first time I played, I chose Bulbasaur. This is what I mentioned about how I restarted my game at least once.
Yeah.
I did Bulbasaur first, played to some point, and then just arbitrarily decided I'm gonna start over again. And I started over again. And I chose Squirtle, and then that was how
you burned you.
Well, let me say this. Statistically speaking, like in most of the games, getting a grass starter is pointless because the first few things that you encounter are grass types.
Mm-hmm.
So like you want to get either fire or water because it takes much longer to find those in the wild.
Right.
That's true.
Especially fire Pokemon. If you want to have, because I don't think that in the first game you can really get any fire Pokemon until you get to Cinnabar.
Growlithe.
But you can find water Pokemon once you start fishing and that kind of thing. I mean, this game's kind of interesting because if you pick Bulbasaur, you have a type advantage to the first two gyms. If you pick Squirtle, you have a type advantage to the first gym. And if you pick Charmander, you're weak to the first two gyms. So it's kind of like they built in this sort of difficulty curve,
right?
Of like, how could we allow players to subtly choose a difficulty? But since they don't tell you that, then everyone just chooses whoever they think looks the coolest. Well,
right, because
they actually learn anything.
Whoever you pick, your rival picks the type that yours is weak to.
Mm-hmm.
So from the get-go, absolutely, it's their mechanics. But I mean, I think that's why, like, I joke about like burning down Viridian Forest, but it's like I had to level them up and try to grind out, something that I would have caught there that I could use against the first gym.
Gotta get a Nidoran.
Yeah.
Learn double kick.
Nidoran, evolve it to Nidoking. One Pokemon run. For,
yes.
Speed run.
Or you could do, I think I don't know if it's current right now, but for a while anyway, the world record speed run was with a Blastoise. So there you go. Squirtle is actually the best. Just saying.
I do want to delve into that. We don't have to do it at this exact moment, but I do want to delve into like battle strategy and how it was for us then versus now, and like, yeah. But we can stay back on track for where we were.
Well, I mean, we touch on that because, like, I don't know, just what do you mean by that? Because I have a thought.
So, for example, like I knew you. We've spoke before, like you'd never IV grinded, but you did like the breeding and I think the EV stuff. you said, or just the breeding?
Well, starting in Gen 2, yeah, I did some
right.
things.
Right.
But,
so like but for me in the beginning it was always just about like I want to max out my Charizard, and as long as he has flamethrower, and I want a Gyarados on my team with like Hyper Beam, and I'm gonna just wreck the Elite Four. But like now, you know, with Go and playing it again, and the battle interactions there, like learning all that stuff now later and going back into the games and kind of applying that safe knowledge, like type effectiveness, which obviously back in the day I knew like water is good against fire and electric is good against water and rock is good against grass, and you know, like the elements always made sense, but some of the other ones always got confusing, like what's normal fighting, because you're gonna beat the normal Joe, like whatever. But then, you know, because you brought up Hariyama, and he's one of my like best fighters in my party and Go.
Oh, yeah.
But like if I were like playing through back then, I probably would have judged him based on his look, because like he looks goofy and, you know, flopping around and stuff. But no, just like, because back in the day, like I just played through. But you know, now I think there's people talk about like the gameplay meta, like the game within the game of like, you know, maxing out all of your IVs and, you know, getting the best move combination, like the best move set and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to lose my train of thought now.
Well, I think it's funny because I think people didn't really deal with that stuff until like the internet really became a big thing and people were able to talk about it online,
like yeah. So because like it's now it's become such a big thing, is to like go beyond just playing the game to like, you know, burn down Forest, or you know, burn down just to have like a Vamper plays Mewtwo or whatever. It's interesting.
Right. I see you, Spence.
had to hit that.
I thought the same thing.
I saw the smirk. That's why I said it.
Wait, what?
You said go beyond.
You said go beyond, and I said plus ultra. It's from My Hero Academia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Spence, were you gonna jump in with something else? It looked like you had something else to add.
I did. My whole battle strategy, much like Zack, was let me get the strongest attacks and just beat the hell out of my opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you know, that I'm playing like Let's Go and like Go and stuff, mainly Let's Go, I'm actually like using like the buffs and the debuffs and stuff like that, because you specifically, Alex, when we played Diamond and Pearl versus, had Cradillia and Cranidos and would just consistently like sap my life and debuff me, and I wouldn't be able to even like breathe on you.
Right.
And like ever since that happened, I completely changed my strategy after I would just continuously get rocked in that.
When you say buff, you mean like the things that like boost like your defense and your
like sword dance and like tail whip.
So
that's
one thing I'm trying to still understand. I know, and I've seen it work, because when I'm fighting someone that keeps boosting their damn defense, and I keep trying to hit them with the same attack that's supposed to be powerful, and it gets weaker and weaker each turn. It's very annoying. But yeah, like Leer, first move to go, growl, Digit, like, you know, let me get
back in the day that was me.
Right, but like in Let's Go, like, you know, like as Ben said about like you're paying attention to like the mechanics of it, is I'm doing the same thing more so with like IVs and type effectiveness. Like you're looking up, okay, so this gym leader is going to have this guy, this guy, and this guy. What are the best types? Who are the best ones that have like the best attack stats and, you know, like defense and overall health and everything like that? And just kind of seeing like how that actually like plays into the game, and like how it can be more than just walking around and catching little bugs and monsters in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah. But buffs are definitely something I have to understand still, because I don't get it, especially all the add-on like the buff items you can use in like Let's Go. I'm like, I'm wasting a turn using that. I don't know.
Well, the reason why it seems pointless is because the core game is so easy that it's never even necessary. You know,
that's true.
If you have a grasp on how the type effectiveness works, you never really need to do it. You know.
Right.
That kind of stuff is really designed for, people battles and things like that.
True.
Like I think Spence sort of pointed it out when he said that I used to stomp him all the time in Diamond and Pearl. That was like the first gen, because that was when those games connected to online.
Right.
So at that time, I was trading with people online. I was battling people online. I was really heavily involved in the GameFAQs forums, trading with people and learning different strategies and things like that. So like that was, I think maybe that might still be the only gen that I like completed the whole Pokedex for as well. But like that was when you really had to think about, what is the meta of this game like? It's really only when you're going up against actual other human players, you know what I mean?
What really made me mad is I literally had like a level 100 Tyranitar and a level 100 Deoxys, and I would still just get dumpstered.
Yeah.
No, max.
Yeah, well, it's because of how many different like crazy combinations you can have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Cradily thing you mentioned, I don't really 100% remember the strategy, but like I know it had ingrain, so it digs its roots into the ground and restores its health. If you give it leftovers, it restores its health every turn. You could teach it like Leech Seed or even just Giga Drain so it can restore its health, and then
Giga Drain a lot.
Then you just boost
and
its
you buffed
defense
its
stat.
defense. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as long as you don't come across
defense.
anything that's actually like type effective against it, it's just going to sit there and suck up damage until your opponent's team is weaker, and then you can swap in something else that's really strong just to take out anybody who's left,
Yeah.
But like when I'm playing like the story of the games, the thing that I like to typically do is just every time I try to play with a different team, like I'm like playing through Let's Go now. I'm kind of a little bit of, I'm like half nostalgia, half real team because I'm playing Pikachu. And so then I have Pikachu on my team. I have the 3 starters on my team, and then I have room for just 2 people that I've never used before. So I'm swapping those 2 slots, just with people I've never used. But even in those cases, like I don't put a whole lot of thought into what buffs am I going to keep around because they're not usually necessary,
Yeah.
I'll deal with that later.
I should probably actually just liquidate all the ones I have in my bag. They're just sitting there. But
what's really funny about that is that I'm literally the same, except I have Eevee. So it's like Eevee, the 3 starters, and then I have Dodrio, which I would never have used like in my life. And then I swap in like in and out the last Pokemon. Usually it's just like whatever I need for the next fight.
Right.
But it's just really funny to, and actually I just got Hitmonchan, so I'm using Hitmonchan because he has like all of the types. So it's like now I have like a little bit of everything, which is funny.
Yeah, I have I've been using Sandslash and Mr. Mime in those 2 spots, 2 Pokemon I've never before used in my life.
Yeah,
Sandslash is the GOAT.
Because there's other options. I don't usually go to ground types, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was trying to use them in type effectiveness, and I don't know, maybe he's not trained enough, but like, and that's the other thing too, is I think at some point, and it's an interesting thing what they did with Let's Go is taking away some of the battling mechanics and how people would generally like level grind, where and then now you're just playing it and going through gym to gym to bang out and like rack up the badges, go to Elite Four and catch them all. I find I'm now like going to gyms that I thought seemed pretty okay, and even with type effectiveness, I'm getting wrecked. Just because you're progressing through a lot faster now. I think the gameplay of Let's Go is like incredibly fast compared to the other ones where, and I think maybe the shoes thing and the bike probably kind of play into it, but I just remember back then they just seemed so much more drawn out and involved. Like, do any of you remember the first time you beat it? Like, I know I did at least once. I don't remember the specific time though.
Like how long it took you?
Well, not just how long, but like just you remember like when you're like, yeah, I finally beat this game. Like I beat the Elite Four. I've caught, well, I don't think I've ever completed the Pokedex.
Right. Not in the first game, no.
No. Is it even possible now? Because weren't a lot of them like through like release events and stuff?
No, you could. Well, in the first game, you can legitimately complete the Pokedex because there's a way to get Mew through a glitch.
Right.
And then you would just have to trade your other versions. I mean, technically, you can actually use the same glitch to get Mew to get the other Pokemon too, but that's a lot easier to just,
Right.
plug in another version or something like that.
Right.
But I never did that back in the day,
Yeah.
because I think it took a while before people realized that you could actually get Mew. There were those rumors about like Mew was underneath a truck that you could get to, but like that wasn't real. So like there wasn't really
what was the glitch?
The actual glitch?
Yeah, what was that, the one that you had to walk up and down the islands in Center Bar, or is that the missing?
No, that's the missing no glitch that you can use to duplicate your items.
Right.
No, the Mew glitch, it's the short version of it is that basically you have to catch an Abra first of all, and then you have to, outside of Cerulean City, there's a Pokemon trainer that has a Slowpoke, and you have to walk up to him, and the second he's gonna like walk up to you, you have to flee using teleport away. I hope I'm remembering this correctly. And then you got to go back, and then I think like after like a certain number of steps, even the game like thinks that you're still in a battle,
right?
And it will just put you into a battle, and it will load a Pokemon based on, I think, the special attack stat of the Pokemon it thinks you're fighting. And it's just in this case, Slowpoke happens to correlate to Mew somehow. So then a Mew will appear, and you can catch your Mew, and it's a totally safe way of catching the game. And I've done that before.
The same attack stat?
The battery died, so I don't have it anymore.
Do they have the same attack stat?
No, it's a totally like normal Mew that you can catch. I think it's like level 5, and then you just raise it as you would normally raise a Mew.
What other glitches were
there? Too many to count.
Yeah, way too many.
Most of them actually revolve around like the missing no glitch, though.
Yeah,
which is the big thing everybody learned about. How to do that one to duplicate your items, and you could have 8 million Master Balls and never have to worry about catching Pokemon again.
Did we found out what the missing no actually was, wasn't it? It was the empty slot for a Pokemon that they never made or something like that, or
basically it's just like unused code or like deleted code, because the game
it was left over.
I mean, I don't really have all the details in front of me to go into it now, but if you look into it, the first Pokemon games are just total disasters from a code standpoint.
Right.
There's just so much random BS that is in the game. It took them, I think, like 5 years to make the first Pokemon games, and it's just like code on top of code on top of code on top of, there's just so much in it. And it's like a buggy mess, which makes it really fun for people to exploit, the game. But there's like actually multiple like missing no type glitches in the game.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I only know the one.
And they can all be used to do different things, But there's like a fun glitch that, like, if you watch like some speed runs that can use glitches, there's some really great ones that let you, just put whoever you want into your Pokedex basically at any time. There's ones that let you just jump into the Hall of Fame room and end your game.
There was the one that I saw that was it was the solo run through with like a level 50 Gengar or whatever that you get like right after Raiden Forest through. Like you have to go in, come back to Pallet Town, do a dance.
I believe it. Which I think is kind of might explain why there were so many rumors about things like, Mew underneath the truck and stuff like that. Because somehow, like I'm thinking about now, I'm just like, how in the hell did we ever find out about the missing no glitch? Because there's like a near 0% chance we looked that up online somehow,
Well, it's like, the same way we all knew how to blow onto the Nintendo cartridge to be
someone told someone who told someone who told someone.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenon. We were just talking about it with Qua and Kevin the other day. I think it's like a thing that, like, say like kids on the playground, you tell one kid, they tell the other kids, and it becomes such a global societal thing. It just happens.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of more fun because then it's you're getting more involved.
Well, it's kind of funny if you think about, like, if you were to ignore the existence of like strategy guides online and think about, like I mentioned before in Gen 4, when I was online talking to people on the GameFAQs forums about like, how do you do this? How do you do that? What's the best way to do this? It's almost like by complicating things, they made it so people on a larger scale had to communicate. Because before it was just like you and a buddy, you had opposite versions, could figure the whole thing out. Now it's like, okay, you and 10 other people need to figure it out. So you're all online on a forum working out how this game works. You know what I mean?
Right.
And obviously, like, online strategy guides are going to eliminate some of that nowadays, you know. But there is still like a community aspect to it, just on the internet instead of, you know, in your first grade classroom.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
We can talk about Pikachu really quick.
Yeah.
Talk about Pikachu edition, the special Pikachu edition,
Pokemon Yellow.
Pokemon Yellow. Well, it actually says just special Pikachu edition on it.
Oh, really? Was the yellow like an after name, or is that on the box art?
No, it's on the box art. Okay. I remember when this game, when did it come out? I guess it must have come out in 1999, so like a full year. This one I did not wait to get at Christmas time. I remember demanding Mom take me to Toys R Us, and had to go to the little video game area behind the case, asked for my Pokemon Yellow version, and used some gift cards. My gift cards had expired because this was back when it was still legal to let your gift cards expire and take the money back off of them. And but that's how I got my special Pikachu version. And it's a very special game because it's the first one that let a Pokemon follow behind you, which has come in and out of the series multiple times. It's back in it now in Let's Go games. Mm-hmm. And Pikachu would come behind you. You could talk to your Pikachu, and you could tell how happy it was with you. If you let it die, it'd get very angry at you, that kind of thing.
Wait, did it actually die like a Tamagotchi? I never played Yellow, so I never...
It didn't actually die, Zach.
Okay.
It in battle.
Like, I'm really concerned for the game. Well, yeah. You know that meme where the guy finishes the version red box art, and it's like, all right, man, everything's great. I just do just the thing to add that'll just take this to like 100. And then it's the little picture of the crying Cubone, and it just says, yeah, an abandoned orphan.
Wow.
Like, come on, like...
I have not seen that.
There's been drama with the box art before.
I've not seen that.
It's messed up.
Regardless, but this is a game that it sort of plays a little bit like Pokemon Red and Blue, but then also incorporates things from the anime. You know, like Jesse and James are in it.
Yeah.
And
Let's go.
Yeah, one of the name options is Ash.
Yeah, so I always thought, and like, wasn't intended to be like the companion game to the show, but with the storyline of the games, kind of, since that's what the show did, right?
Yeah, well, because the show was so popular, you know.
Right.
They made this game as like an enhanced version of the other two games, you know, and threw Pikachu in it because then everybody loved Pikachu so much, you know. Yeah, so it's funny because they changed like Pikachu's front sprite to be like, oh, it's a cute Pikachu. Oh, it's your Pikachu. But like its back sprite in battle is still the same one from Red and Blue, where he's fat and he's just like electricity coming out of his ears.
That's so wild that like everyone fell in love with Pikachu, and I mean, I guess thank God the show, because in Red, Blue, and Green, like he looks like a little rat troll. Not an attractive sprite at all.
Yeah, he's a little chunky monkey.
Yeah.
But like that's fine. You know, he's doing his best.
Cute. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's you know, they somehow struggled with that. I don't really know any of the details about how they picked Pikachu to be the anime mascot. You know what that was based on or not. But it was definitely a good choice because people love him.
Yeah.
Facts. But yeah, so that's, you know, I played through all of Yellow as well. Probably multiple times, and that's obviously the one that they based the Let's Go remakes on.
Yeah.
So people can, you know, play it all over again. And
how many of those, like just the story mechanics, are pulled from Yellow? Because like obviously Let's Go now, I know you like the interaction thing seems to have been similar, Were there any other things that were like similar?
Well, Jesse and James are in Let's Go.
Right.
The ability to catch, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle in the wild. Your rival gets an Eevee. I think even the rival's like evolution mechanic works the same way, because Eevee can evolve into 3 different Pokemon, obviously, and which Pokemon it evolves into is determined by how you lose to him in the first 2 battles. So there's the mandatory battle that you have inside Professor Oak, and then there's the optional battle you can do if you try to go towards the Pokemon League.
Yeah.
If you win both of those battles, it'll evolve into a Jolteon. I think if you lose either battle, it turns into Flareon, and if you lose both battles, it's a Vaporeon.
I must have lost either or not completed the other one, because I'm pretty sure I ran into him and he had a Vaporeon. No, I thought I had Flareon, but I didn't lose.
Huh?
I don't know if the type effectiveness.
I mean, they might have adjusted that a little bit. I just know that I beat him in both cases in my game, and he has a Jolteon right now. So
interesting.
I have Eevee.
You have an Eevee, so none of this matters to you.
No.
Yeah.
In evolution, you cannot evolve your Pikachu in this game.
Can't.
If you try to evolve it, it'll be sad. The only way you can do it is if you trade it to another game and then trade it back and then evolve it, because you're a monster. But don't do
But
it.
just like Let's Go, you can't evolve.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you trade that Pikachu into Gold and Silver, it'll be holding a Light Ball, which is a special item that makes Pikachu's attacks stronger.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
But then I'm pretty sure you can then evolve it in Gold and Silver if you wanted to. But again, you have to be a monster to trade your special Pikachu from Pokemon Yellow into another game.
Does that cartridge still work?
I mean, it works, but the battery's dead. So same problem with Blue.
The battery is what allows it to save. So you can play arcade style and get as far as you can.
Well, that's why I play it on my Retron, because the Retron can save it to its own memory. So it'll, when I boot up the game again, it'll be like, oh, this is where you were. So that's how I can play through the game that way.
Well, I wonder how long it would take if you just left it on. Like if you just pause it and leave the Game Boy on, how long would the AA batteries last?
They're like 10-hour batteries, I'm pretty sure. So overnight, basically. Don't do that.
They replace those batteries, don't they? Like you can go to like a shop and they'll open up the case and replace the battery and then reglue it.
Yeah, I mean I could do it, but I don't really play it enough to warrant it right now.
That's fair.
Or I could just do it at home. Just all you need is
just to do it.
Soldering gun and some pliers and a fresh battery. So I could do it, but I just haven't really gotten around to doing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, all my Pokemon batteries are dead, so maybe I'll do it at some point in the future.
When it's time to share with Liam.
Brenna actually downloaded Yellow onto her 3DS, which Liam has played before. So we actually have a digital version of it, and Liam wants to play that. Then you can just save that way.
I didn't know there was a digital version for.
Yeah, dude. It's on the eShop.
Oh wow, fancy.
Get a DS and play it.
Phone yet?
Is it on a phone yet? No, it's not on a phone yet.
No. Said why is it not on the phone yet? I would love it on the phone. It'd be great.
Keep dreaming.
Well,
I actually back in the day I had a ROM emulator on an iPod that I played Pokemon on.
Yeah, well there you go.
I've been there as well. Always booting up
ROMs.
Fire Red.
You had a ROM of Fire Red?
Yeah.
I had a ROM of Fire Red. I kept that was the first ROM I downloaded when I re-downloaded ROMs.
For shame.
Well, because you weren't around. I eventually went back and played your version because I didn't.
That's how I played Fire Red.
Yeah,
first. And then
you let me playing on the phone. I wanted to feel like I was actually playing it again. So
I actually, when I was
that too, I also tried to just start it on the Advance and then eventually switched to the SP.
So Fire Red and Leaf Green, I guess we should have mentioned, since Fire Red and Leaf Green are remakes of, I guess Red and Green, but technically Red and Blue. And that's actually the first generation where I bought both of them and then actually played both of them. So I played the entire way through.
Crazy, like why are you
through Fire Red, just for giggles, I guess.
Well,
can you just take a moment and realize that, like, if they didn't do Leaf Green, it would have been Water Blue,
Ocean Blue, Sea Blue, something.
Aqua Blue.
Well, it would have been water. It would have been water because Fire Red, Leaf Green. Like,
yeah, they didn't do Grass Green,
Oh, that's true.
So they could have come up with something different.
Yeah. Well,
I probably would have done water blue though. Let's be real.
Well, was green any different from blue in the States? Like when they re-released this, they chose to keep a green version. Is that like how they did Let's Go with like that, or?
So this is kind of actually funny because you know how we always think of the third version, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we typically think of like, oh, just like Pokemon Yellow, which I actually almost said earlier, and then I remembered this isn't really true. Pokemon Blue was actually originally the enhanced edition that they released in Japan like a year or two later. And that is what the US version is based on. Is Japan's Blue is what we ended up doing as Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Red.
I see. So then in leaf green, is it more traditional with the original green, or is it the retelling of blue?
Well, I'm pretty sure they still use blue as the basis, but they changed so much that it almost doesn't really matter, you know?
That's true.
Like to some degree, you should almost be saying like, don't even bother playing red and blue anymore, you know? Like we just spent an hour talking about it for no reason because because Fire Red and Leaf Green are the definitive versions, you know? But there's like a charm.
You just play Let's Go.
Yeah.
Well, so
there's like a charm to the original that people love, you know?
Is how far are we into generations with the remakes? Because I know they keep remaking them to be compatible to help like aid in the moving of the Pokemon from one device to the other to keep your decks, growing. And then you have like the supplemental versions and all that stuff.
The answer is 3.
What's that?
We're 3 generations in. That's where we're at.
Which ones?
You said the remakes. How many remakes? There's Fire Red. There's Heart Gold. There's Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and then Omega Ruby and Omega Sapphire.
Alpha Sapphire.
Alpha Sapphire. My bad.
Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire.
Those are on the 3DS.
They're on 3DS.
3DS.
So then that means Pearl and Diamond are coming next.
Pearl and Diamond are next, and they didn't. I thought they did.
No, they didn't remake those.
Not yet.
They have all of them.
I'm 100% getting that because that was the only Pokemon game I've completed.
They have all of them are available on, the DS, the 3DS at this point, and if you consider Let's Go to be like the definitive remake of the Kanto games, then there's even no reason for them to go back and redo those a third time. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. They can just keep going from here now on.
Right.
One other thing I did want to touch on, and that's more just for my own knowledge. What separated the enhanced versions, like the crystals and the diamonds and like third editions that would always come out a couple months later?
Mm-hmm.
Like what were those changes?
Well, it's different every time,
Right.
They started doing a thing where they actually stopped doing this after Gen 4.
Diamond and Pearl didn't have one.
Black and White to Black and White 2.
Right, and then Gen 6 didn't even. Gen 6 just got that was when they
did the
remakes.
And, the Ultra Moon.
Well, no, same with X and Y. They didn't do like a Z, which they had rumored for a while, but they didn't. Yeah. Instead, they
Diamond and Pearl didn't do one.
They did the remakes of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Right.
That's what I said. So Gen 4 was the last one to have a third version with Platinum, but it was different for all of them. So,
yeah, that's right.
But like, what they started doing was like Crystal involved like a different legendary. So then they had like that game's all about Suicune instead of being about one of the birds, and then Emerald is all about Rayquaza, and then Platinum's all about Giratina. And then there's just like other kinds of like story tweaks.
Right.
And they also typically did like new sprite work, like the sprites in Crystal move or they don't move in the Silver.
Right.
I can't remember if Pokemon follow you around in Crystal. I feel like they don't.
I thought they did. I thought that was a mechanic that they kept from Yellow, in addition to like the time of the day thing. I thought you could allow in one of the second gen you could allow Sprite to follow you. I thought. I don't know.
Let's find out.
The more you know.
No. Nope.
Nope. No.
Doesn't follow you.
Never mind.
Yeah, I didn't think they did. Yeah, so there's just like a bunch of, gameplay tweaks. You can catch both Ho-Oh and Lugia still after you beat Kanto, And then in Emerald, they introduced the Battle Frontier, I believe.
Right.
Was that one? Which was like a whole extra mode you could do after you beat the game. And then in Platinum, they had a whole bunch of other extra junk that you could do. And then they stopped doing those. So they started just doing.
I don't even know what they added in Platinum because there was already so much stuff to do in Pearl and Diamond that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever finished that one. I think I burned out because, like I said, I spent so much time playing Diamond.
Yeah.
And I think I just beat the story of Platinum and was like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Which was why I think it was smart of them to effectively soft reboot the series with Black and White by making it so that you could only catch Unova region Pokemon in that game until you beat it. Very smart move.
Do you think they're going to do that with Sword and Shield? Because the trailer seems to hint at no, that there will be a mixed bag of.
No, I think that they're going to have it. We talked about
every single gen.
Yeah. Yeah, the trailer shows a Pokemon from every gen.
Man.
You don't watch the show. The trailer that they showed has a Pokemon in it from every generation. So
yeah.
So everybody's going to be available.
Interesting.
From the beginning, which is fine. I mean, I think it's more interesting when you limit the number of Pokemon you can get.
Yeah,
just too many options otherwise from the start.
Because we're up to what?
My party better go from 6 to 12.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Anyways, those are long battles though. It's gonna be a long battle.
Fine. That's fine.
Give me a hard mode.
With
maybe 8. A nice solid 8 will be good.
All right.
Well, I mean, if you're including every generation, every Pokemon, dude, you're gonna have to, because otherwise people are just gonna use the most OP from the previous generations, and no one's gonna give a damn about the new ones.
Well, that's why I always try to limit myself to just Pokemon from that generation.
Right? Yeah. No. Same. But
plus, it's on console, so who knows what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Yeah, they could.
Exactly.
They could add more Pokemon. They could change a lot of things because it's kind of funny. They change things sort of incrementally every time, but like so much of it is based on, like I mentioned before, the first games are kind of a buggy mess because it took them 5 years to make, you know, and a lot of the decisions they made, like the number of Pokemon you can carry, like I'm sure those were based on just like hardware limitations. Like, okay, we don't want to make code for a 7th or 8th Pokemon, so let's just stick at 6 because it feels like if you really think about it, like why 6? It's kind of arbitrary number, around 5. 5 is a number that's halfway to 10, you can do 5, so it could be interesting if they give you the option to maybe play on a mode that gives you 8,
I mean, if you think about it, maybe it was 5 and it's just that 6 slot is so that they assume we would always have our starter as like the slot. So I don't know.
Probably has something to do with, I'm sure the number 6 probably divides very evenly into the number of bits the memory was allowed to hold.
Oh yeah.
That's probably why.
Probably way easier.
So no last thoughts? We think we got it all out?
Yeah.
Pokemon is good. Gen 1 done. I think we definitely need to do more of these somehow. We'll keep talking about each game.
I might be able to swing Gen 2 and beginning of Gen 5 just from a more of a nostalgia standpoint. Otherwise, I'm only really good at other trailers.
Fun fact.
Go. Better play.
So I'm gonna say this here in case we never do a Gen 3 episode. But when I went back through my games, it turns out that I had like 300 hours in Pokemon Ruby, which is probably the most I've ever put into a single game. I cannot imagine what I did in that game for 300 hours. But apparently I really, really liked it back in the day.
Did you load it up and like see what your party was and what the stats were and everything? And
yeah, well, I mean, I had like Groudon, maxed out. My starters, starters all maxed out, But that game also had like a whole like mini game loop where you had a secret base that you could furnish with stuff throughout the game, and it was also the first game that introduced.
I want to play Ruby now.
Yeah, it introduced what are they called? Pokemon contests as well, which I'm sure I spent a ton of time doing.
In Pearl, dude, I spent so much time in those.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for sticking around until the end. Please like this video, drop us some comments about your personal favorite Pokemon in Gen 1. Obviously, like we said, Blastoise is the best choice. And and yeah, subscribe to the channel to see more like this. We're gonna continue to do these memory nostalgia videos. We haven't done one of these in a while, but we want to do more of these, as well as the Monday news show. Seems like those are getting a little bit of traction. I've gotten some good feedback on that as well. If you're listening to the podcast version, sorry for all the visual jokes. We will please leave us a review in iTunes. We really do appreciate all the support there. And you can follow us on Twitter at BrotherlyLoveG1. We are also on Twitch at BrotherlyLoveG1. If you're listening or watching this on the first day it's out, come back later today. I will be streaming on Twitch Yoshi's Crafted World, probably with my wife. We're hoping to do the co-op stream. Since you can apparently co-op the entire game, we're going to see how that goes. Spence, any streaming plans in the future?
Gonna finish. Well, I don't know about finish, but I'm gonna keep playing Recore. At some point, I need to finish Super Bomberman because I think I'm on like the last world, but it's just like that game's such a pain in the ass that it's
right.
I've been pushing myself away from it.
Do it.
I also might start Fallout 4 because I just picked that up, so I might do a playthrough of that. So cool. I'm thinking about showing off that.
Cool. Speaking of showing things off, actually, like I mentioned to Spence earlier today. I don't know when this is going to happen, but I'm going to say it out loud now so that I can hold myself accountable for it. I wanted to start doing weekly-ish, maybe, I don't know, monthly streams focusing on different indie games. I play a lot of indie games, and I like to talk about them. So sometime within the next week, I'm going to do a stream of the first level of The Messenger, where I'm going to just play the game, talk about it, let you know my thoughts, let you know where you can get it. And then that'll be it. I'm going to play it on Switch. I think you can get it on Switch. I think a PS4 version just came out. It's on PC too, I believe. Zach, you should play that game. I told you before. You like Shinobi, you like Ninja Gaiden. It's good.
It's on I think I added it to my wish list.
Cool. And okay, so that's going to be it. I'm going to wrap it up before we do too much outro. And we will see everybody next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
See you guys.